So today we're gonna speak a little bit about sacred sexuality and temple nights. The reason we're doing this is because we have some spicy, very beautiful events coming up in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. But before we dig into that, we'd like to introduce ourselves. My name is Serena. This is the beautiful Mariana. And we are here to introduce Temple Nights to Playa del Carmen. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna introduce myself in a quick way. And my name is Mariana, and I love to work with a human being. I'm really passionate about discovering and exploring the depth of the human. And I've been studying a lot of different modalities that are related with sacred sexuality and also with psychology, inner work, inner child, and all this field that is complement, and that is bringing me to host different kind of workshops here with Serena also in Playa del Carmen, and also about tools that makes me dance or connect with my emotion in a somatic way. And we are super excited to help you to go in this mystery of adventure. It's gonna be amazing.
Yes. And a brief introduction about me. Already said my name. I'm super passionate about relationships and masculine and feminine dynamics. I really feel that when we heal the communication and the relationship that we have with our masculine and our feminine, which we have inside, then we can actually really have better, deeper, and more expansive relationships with others. And in the moment that we have those deeper and more expansive relationship with others, the love spreads, and so we can heal the world. And that's kind of like the mission that I have. Spreading love, bringing people to understand each other, have empathy and compassion, and that's the most, what I'm most passionate about in life at this moment.
And one thing that we are so into both, we love shadow work.
We love shadow work, yes. We're quite intense human beings.
Yeah.
So, this is us. We're gonna be talking a little bit more in details about all of this in a second. If you live in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, please reach out for the in-person events. If you don't live in Mexico and you just want to know a little bit more about you want to know a little bit more about sacred sexuality and temple work, temple nights, you can just keep on watching. We're gonna share information that's valid for temples all over the world. What is sacred sexuality?
Woo! Goosebumps in my skin when you say that. Well, for me, sexuality is everything. It's this moment. It's presence. It's being able to create and have a container, and at the same time hear that voice and that call that comes from super subtle and feminine. For me, is hearing with all your senses to yourself and to the other in order to be interconnected with life and with other human beings. Of course, it's for me an alignment of my parts, of my different bodies, and through the heart, all connected to the heart. And it's being able to be fully myself, fully who we are, fully authentic, being able to say what we like, what we don't like, and be everyone responsible of their own part, so we can transform and create and go, instead of living in this base, like in this base, being able to live with my bigger purpose, I can say.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mm.
So to me, well, obviously I resonate with everything that you said, and it's alive for me too. But to me, sacred sexuality is really learning and embodying how to make love to life. It's really not about just the sex act, but it's about making love to life, to everything that you do, and really expand your body and your senses and your sensitivity to be able to receive all of that energy flowing in and out of your body, of your soul, all the time, because it's happening all the time. But most of the time we get distracted with what's going on up here, or we get distracted with the day-to-day tasks, and we kind of forget that our bodies are machines made for pleasure. And so we can really bring that into anything that we're doing. If we're working, if we're like studying, if we are hanging out with people, like we can really bring that sense. And it really bring us closer one to the other, because once we can recognize that pleasure and that energy in our daily life and in everything that we can get in touch with, then the connections with other people, they become so much more special, because it's not just Mariana, the physical body that is here, but she is like the representation of all this beautiful world that is constantly giving life and pleasure. And so I can relate to her, seeing her as that divinity, and that's beautiful because it really brings us all up. And it's another type of just worshiping life and people in a different way.
I would love to add to this that you say about how we in sacred sexuality, we immediately, well, in my case I used to go immediately to this image about sex, like penetration. And what you say right now, it's really beautiful, that it's not about that physical encounter, it's something much deeper, that we can find pleasure in this, or in breathing, or in looking a candle. And by that, it doesn't exclude the penetration, but it's also not focusing on that. It's part of everything, like everything. Like this is the same of this is the same of here, you know?
And to me, one last thing that I always like to include in this kind of explanation is kind of about, because it connects to what you just said, this duality of the weight that we put around sex and sexuality in our society because of the repression and because of like it's been such a taboo topic that we kind of put a lot of weight. When that happens, it's like huge because it's not something that it's normalized. And if you're familiar with the phrase, sex will ruin a friendship or something like that, it's mostly because we do put a lot of weight into the fact that sex means something. We just have given it the wrong kind of meaning. And so this other duality of making sex not mean so much and normalize it enough so that it doesn't have this weight, but at the same time really bringing it up to the sacredness of the act, which is not the sacredness of just sex, it's the sacredness of life. And so it's really bringing the sacred back into life through sex and through sexuality. And it's just a tool. It's not the end goal. It's just one other tool, as it can be meditation, as it can be yoga, as it can be like, whatever other tool you have used in your past that has worked. Sexuality is just another one of them. So now, what is a temple?
What is this mysterious world? Oh, well, we can start like literally, that is a space. Big space.
Dictionary definition.
It's a space, blank, just kidding. No, I'm gonna say that for me is a space where I'm and we are allowed to express fully who we are and learn about ourselves with consciousness, presence, like recognizing our light and our shadows, observing how you react in relation with others when it's like the veil of no mask, you know, like the nakedness and the fully expression of nakedness. And for me, this space is sacred. It has everything, as you mentioned. No, it's not separate for anything. Includes playful, includes games that are maybe in the shadow, includes food, includes cuddles, includes massage, includes feathers, all the creativity that we want to bring, like all what life includes in a temple, include sexuality. I mean, meaning the act of encounter two bodies and have love, make love. Sorry for the English, make love. And includes inner child. What else? Tell me what includes. What other?
So as you said, it includes everything, because also a temple, if we want to bring back the sacredness, part of bringing back the sacredness to me is bringing back the fact that we can all create. We're all creators. So one thing that I explained to one of the participants that came last week to our event is that if something that you want is missing from a temple, it's because you need to create it. So it's also a space to create.
To be an adult.
To be an adult, to be to take the initiative if you see that something is missing, to create that change, to create that thing that is missing. And everything that we create in a temple and all these things that we have in a temple, it's like our reflection of what we have on the outside. So when you are in a temple, you can observe yourself. How are you reacting to the situations that are happening? Are you making yourself small and go in the corner and hide? Are you pushing yourself too much into other people? Are you like complaining about the fact there is not a kinky space in the temple when you really wanted to get kinky? Instead of creating it, you're just like there complaining. And you can really observe yourself into all these different experiences that you have, because a temple really recreates life. And so when you are out there and you are just in the world, you behave exactly the same way. It's just so much easier to observe yourself when you are in the temple. It's like, yes, putting a telescope on your own patterns and behaviors and your own stories.
And you cannot.
Yes, you cannot.
They come like from these holes, like.
You cannot also because there is no escaping. Like if you feel something and it's coming to you, there is no phones that you can run to.
Exactly.
There is food, but like most likely
it's more a little piece of food.
Yeah,
it's controlled food.
It's controlled food, so you can't really go and or like run or exercise. There are no distractions apart from, okay, if you feel something, you see it and you are with yourself and you just process it and you see it, and maybe you don't find a solution right away, but at least you are aware of what's going on. And then every temple is different. You will never be in the same temple twice.
Never. And I would love to address something to that. How many times maybe you are desiring something so strong that happen in life, and what you can notice in a temple is like when your desire is super strong, but that comes like, I want to do this
with
attachment, it never happened, and probably you will have like another different totally experience as you are thinking. So the temple is literally how life works. If we can just have our clarity of our desire, let it go, it may happen, it may not, and the experience every time is different, because what you experience is exactly what you need to live in that moment in your life and in that temple specifically. And you may have some questions about like, but how we're gonna do that, no? And I would say that's why Serena and I, we are going to facilitate some guidance, tools for boundaries, tools for asking desire, what happened if I got in an emotion or trigger, how I'm gonna, I don't know, like get out of a situation that is like not comfortable for me, and all the things that can happen there as in life. So we can guide you through this sequence of these 3 different events. That the first one is going to be more guided, like it's going to be held all day, 10 to 10 p.m. by us. So you can, in order to you to feel safe and contained, and you can be more into the moment, the present, and understanding in the body, like embodying what is going on. The second,
and not go so much into the mind of, oh my god, what's gonna happen, is this gonna happen or is that gonna happen? So that's really the reason why we're gonna be holding space for each and every dynamic and practice. The second one is gonna be a little bit more like in between. So in the second one, that's tricky for the
I know, sorry.
So the second one is gonna be more practicing everything that we learned in the first one. So in the first one, we're gonna be having a lot of tools around consent, about boundaries, about like speaking up. And then in the second one, we're gonna put it into practice in a very different way than the first one, because we're gonna go deeper into you finding that voice, and you like in a little bit more open space, how can you actually express yourself through that. And then the third temple,
let's say that it's gonna be a little bit more spicy. So yeah, it's the moment of the integration of the two of the first one, that we are more familiar of what we're doing, we have more confidence about what is going on, and then the group has a built energy that we already feel safe, and it's gonna be a little bit more like open and creative. And exactly how Serena said, like, if I need something, it's my responsibility to create that, in order to don't be like the inner kid that is waiting until somebody resolve their life.
Yes.
So I'm gonna take all my adultness to play as a kid in that space.
Yes. And throughout all the process, as we said, we're gonna give you the tools that have been really helping us into this work and into this process, and as people that we do go to temples and we do find each other, ourselves, into this space of being faced with parts of us that maybe are not great, or that we don't really want to share with the world, but also like integrating those in and being able to bring that out again in a different way. So it's really, there are so many tools and so many practices and so many dynamics and so many games that we're gonna be going through, which is impossible to resume and condense into a short video like this one. But it's gonna be really like a journey in which you can either attend 1, 2, or 3 of them. Is still gonna be very transformative, especially if you haven't been to spaces like this before. That's why we're starting from the base. And
so I recommend you go to the 3 of them.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Also because you always,
there's also could be persons that are like, I don't have like the 3 of the weekends free, and I would love to join, but maybe I already went to temples and I'm like, okay, I'm going to the 3rd one.
Yeah.
Or I can go to 2, okay, 2nd and 3rd. But if it's like something that you want to learn from base, that is like you are not super pro in relationships, communication, and all these kind of things, like I recommend to go to the 1st one.
Yeah, if it's your first experience with any space like this, highly recommend to attend the 1st one, because that's where we're gonna be doing or giving the base tools.
I would love to ask you shortly, in your experience going to temples, what is whatever part comes right now to share, that was like for you a funny, interesting experience that you learned about yourself?
So I think that there is one in every single temple, but the one that I think was more impactful and really, really made a difference difference, not only in the temple space, or it was not only fun, but it was really like transformative in my life, was this experience in a temple in Spain where I was playing a lot with my kinky side. And at one point, I found myself into a lot of shame of being in that space. And for a moment, it was just a moment that I fell into that shame, because I had been working around that specific piece for a while. But then I was like, really, this shame doesn't belong to me. Fuck the good girl. Right now, I just wanna be. I don't wanna have a label. I don't wanna be good, bad. I'm enjoying this, and I just wanna keep enjoying. I don't wanna put any fucking label on myself. Like, is it good girl? Is it bad girl? Am I kinky? Am I energetic? Am I spiritual? Am I an animal? I'm like fucking everything. And
that happened a lot. It's so funny.
And that was like a very beautiful, very, very beautiful experience that is still with me at this point, when I try to label myself, and then I'm like, no, I don't have labels. I am everything at the same time, and whatever gives me pleasure and excites me at this moment, and I'm not just talking about sexually, but like whatever it is right now, that's who I am. Yeah, so I think that's mine. What's yours?
Spicy. Yeah. I relate a lot with what you say, especially in the part of judgment. For me, it was a big piece healed in those spaces. And it was super interesting to observe the judgments of my mind. It was like even like insane. Like, why I'm judging this? Like, what's going on? And then it's like, I have a desire to do that. No?
Yep.
And then the other pole is like, because I have a desire to do it, I was like, now I'm gonna do it. And I forced myself because it was not the moment. So this kind of tricky situation is the same way as I used to live in life. I was trying to get things that I desire, but for a place of, I want to do it, and now, and really like attached and really with that energy that it doesn't flow.
Yeah.
Instead of trusting, bringing the element of trusting and being connected to my body and emotions, like the feminine, instead of wanting everything from the masculine. But I discovered that I want this, so I want to go and do that, And what I received by that place was a lot of rejection, my principal fear of wound to have. So it's like, by the same time you're creating what you don't want by doing it in the incorrect way. And the incorrect way I can say about what you say, there's this duality that both sides are welcome, but the way of relating is what we need to change. It's not about like, okay, something that we catalog as bad. For example, I can say smoking cigarette. So you will say like, this is bad because it's for your health, no? So no, quit it. And then if you see it like, okay, how I can change my relationship with the smoke without needing to kick out of my life and say like, it's bad.
I think it goes a lot with the alignment of something, what something makes you feel in the moment, and being very, very present with that. Because like sometimes, I can relate to the smoking with wine, for example. Like sometimes I really feel that when I drink a glass of wine just because I want to push something down, the next day, even if it's just a glass, like my stomach feels funny. But sometimes I really, really want to like cook a meal drinking a glass of wine. And in that case, like I really don't feel like anything, like my body actually receives it very well. So it's also like understanding the place where you're coming from,
the moment, the place,
and getting to know yourself. That's a place, like that's what a temple is, getting to know yourself
exactly
so fucking deep that then
you live in alignment, as you said.
Exactly. And then you're aligned.
Easy. It's
No.
not that easy. But
But
that's
that's
easy and not, you know?
Yeah, it's not that hard either.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not easy, but it's not that hard either.
Yeah, I agree.
And something that I want to make clear, like one last point, because the other day I was talking to a friend and he was like, I was actually talking to him about this experience that I've expressed with the kinky exploration, and I was telling him like how there were ropes and spankers and like whips and all these tools, and actually I think I never actually had penetration in a temple. I've explored everything else, but I never actually got to that point because I have a very strange relationship. Not strange, like I respect penetration a lot, and so to me it's very, very sacred, and normally in the amount of time that I share with the people in a temple, I don't actually arrive to that point. So I share this with you because my friend was shocked that there were ropes and whips and spankers and there was no penetration or genital contact. So it's really funny how people might have this concept and connection that anything that is related to sex, it's genital. It's not. There is a lot to explore outside of the genital area, even though, as she said before, it's not
excluded. It's not like, oh, it's bad. No.
Everything is allowed. Everything is allowed, and for me, those spaces were like an amazing opportunity to explore everything else that I didn't explore before, because my sexuality in the past was very focused on genitals, as I guess for at least 97% of the world.
Ooh.
Okay,
Yes.
now we're ready.
Yes.
If you have any more questions, leave it in the comment below, send us a message, whatever makes it easier for you. And
See you there.
We'll see you there.
Bye.
Ciao.